Hey everyone, welcome to Pop XP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the Pop XP channel. Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here, Nile, Scala with the Pop XP. And tonight we have another exciting new adventure in Crowdfunding Comics. And as always, the outlaw himself, Billy Tucci, is nowhere to be found. But there is a $10,000 reward.
Look, I got my rootin' tootin' U.S. model 1858 model army, Remington model army.
That's the fanciest lighter I've ever seen.
There you go, because we're talking, man. We're talking about the
We're heading down to the Alamo.
West. We're talking about some good stuff. So where are we going today, Nile? I'll tell you where we're going, if I may.
Where are we going?
We're on our way to the. Are you ready? We're on Alien Alamo. Wow, 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 wow. We're on an alien. Whoa, Alamo. Wow, wow. Graham Nolan's Alien Alamo. Alamo.
Beautiful.
Alamo. Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Never had a lesson.
Never had a lesson. What a lovely vibrato you have.
Without further ado, why don't we get some stuff done? Let's bring in the great Graham Spankin' Nolan.
Welcome, Graham Nolan.
If I never hear that song again, it'll be too soon.
Come on, man. When you were doing Alien Alamo, you weren't singing that in your head? I
am now.
What?
I am now.
There you go. I'm drawing Alien Alamo. I'm drawing Alien. Whoa, Alamo.
Look at that wagon. What are they pulling? So that wagon.
me and Dr. Black.
You're going to be singing that tomorrow and be like, damn you, Billy.
That's all I was thinking of, man. So what a great start you have to your campaign, brother. And we're so happy that you joined us today. You were joining the outlaw Nile Scala and Billy Tucci, banned from YouTube Live. Pew-pew.
Yeah, I debated on whether to come on this show because it's somewhat criminal.
It is,
and I don't want to be associated with this type of these type of people. But I figured I still got to push my material. So
you still got to push it. So you got to slum. You got to do what
you got to do. So you got to slum it with the best of them.
So Graham, Alien Alamo is your fourth crowdfunded campaign or third?
Well, it's technically my second that I'm doing myself.
Compass Comics, yeah. Second.
Yes, yeah. But it would be my fourth one, all total.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, in the first 24 hours or first maybe 12 hours, I don't even know how many hours it was. You broke over $20,000.
Yeah.
On the campaign. I don't know now, Scala, if we can share his page.
Yeah. And now you're at 25,460.
Woo!
Fantastic.
Well done, brother. Now, how long did it take the Chenoo, which was a huge success, over $85,000? I think is that when you stopped?
Over 90.
Over 90.
$90,000. Okay, over $90,000 with Chenoo. How long did it take you to get to 25 grand on the Chenoo as compared to Alien Alamo?
Well, it took me 10 days to get to my target, which was 15,000. It took me 10 days to get to 15,000.
On the Chenoo.
On the Chenoo. Yeah.
So you just made that campaign your bitch with this new one.
Yeah, we crushed it. I mean, because we had I believe that the people that supported the Chenoo were so happy with the service, the product, that they came back. And that's what it's all about. That's what we're trying to do with these boutique comics is service our readers and our backers, give them what we promise them. First off, at least that's what I do. Is if I've been a deadline guy my entire life. For 37 years. If an editor tells me what the deadline is, damn it, those pages are coming in by that day. And I've never missed one in all those years. So I've always lived and died by the deadline. And so if I come up with a date and say, and such a date, you know, this is when this project is going to be delivered, I do my damn best to get it out there. Now, in a pandemic, I had listed the date as the end of October, but I fulfilled by the end of December. And everybody was happy with that because, you know, we're in the middle of a pandemic and I still made the numbers.
Yeah. And if I recall, you had a pretty, it wasn't a very conservative, you know, a lot of guys, you know, give themselves a year. I mean, your deadline was pretty fast. It wasn't a very conservative deadline to begin with, you know, like shipping deadline. You're like, no, this is coming out in October. And everybody was like, wait a minute, October. That's like,
the campaign ended in June. It ended in June, and you know, I had said it would be out by October, but it ended up in December. So like what, 6 months, 6-month turnaround, something like that.
That's fantastic. That's great. Well done. And that just shows what a pro you are. Shows what a real pro, what a true pro you are.
Well, did you like with your whole, you know, your business plan and everything and how you're growing yourself and you're growing Compass Comics and stuff? I mean, did you find, you know, obviously, you know, for creators like yourself, Billy, and guys that are in the industry like you are, you know, the pandemic wasn't really a huge lifestyle change for you guys because you typically work from home majority of the time, and you know that's what you do. Did you find though, with everything else being shut down, it allowed for greater focus on, you know, working on the Chinu, getting that set, and jumping right into Alien Alamo? Or do you think that wouldn't even make a difference?
No, it didn't make any difference as far as my workflow goes. Yeah. The only thing for me, I mean, you know, like people would bitch and moan about, you know, being shut in because of the pandemic. And I'm like, well, welcome to my world, dude. It's been like that for 37 years. You know, the only change for me was socialization, you know, going out to eat, that kind of stuff. You know, a ways to blow off steam, as it were. Yeah, that was the only change for me, but my actual workflow didn't change at all.
So what inspired Alien Alamo?
Excellent question, Hal.
I've always been a fan of The Rifleman. That was one of my favorite TV shows, and I still watch it. I'm watching it. I'm rewatching them all right now in order. And that was a show. It was like a half-hour show. For people that don't know the TV show, it was a Western. But it was about a rancher and his son. He was newly widowed, and he took his son out to New Mexico to start a new life. He was a Union soldier, and he was known for his ability with a rifle. And but he had a good moral compass. He was a solid Christian guy, and he was trying to raise his son in a sort of a violent world. And it was this great relationship story.
Yeah.
And so that was basically the premise that I wanted to do. Is I wanted to do a modern day rifleman, because I wanted to explore the relationship between a father and son. And so I decided I wanted to set it. I actually set it in the years that the Rifleman was actually filmed. You know, nice. It was filmed in like 1959, I believe. But I set this in 1957 because I wanted to set it during the very beginning of the space race when Sputnik went up. And so it takes place in 1957, and I also wanted to tie it into World War II. So it's sort of a I'm using it as an allegory for World War II, but also for the Alamo, henceforth the name. And so that's pretty much, you know, the beginnings of it. You know, I like, if anybody ever watched any of my 31 Days of Monsters, which ran in October, I'm a huge fan of 50s sci-fi and horror films and classic horror films and stuff like that. And I love cross genres. And I wanted to do, you know, what if the Rifleman, you know, met the Thing from Another World or something like that, you know. Nice. So that, you know, nice. I start with those things, and I expand from there. But for me, every great story has to have an emotional hook. You know, it has to be about a relationship of some type. And this is a story about a father who has been scarred by what he had seen in the Pacific in World War II. He comes home to his innocent son. His wife has died, and now he's raising his kid as a widower. And he can't relate to the kid. He can't open up to the kid, and he's still haunted by the memories of what he has seen and done in the Pacific. And it takes another war to bring him out of it. He has to share that camaraderie of combat, which he will with his son when this alien invasion starts.
Dude. Now that's great. That's awesome. Now I'm looking at like your character design and stuff. I mean, where did you pull your inspiration for your character designs?
Well, the guy with the gray hair in the back was clearly modeled after Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travis Houston, the father in the cowboy hat there, he's based on John Krasinski.
Oh, nice.
The actor from the Jack Ryan TV show, and of course The Office. I needed somebody. I wanted to look like Krasinski has that kind of world weary look. He has those eyebrows that kind of tilt up. Like he could be like sort of sad sacky looking. And I wanted a guy that looked like that, he has the frame of like a John Wayne, he's just he's a giant of a man, but he's got that face that is very emotive.
Yeah. You know when I first saw it, who I immediately thought of was Clint Walker.
Oh,
that's who I was picturing.
Yeah. Physically, I would say physically like Clint Walker. Yeah.
And Clint's got that, if you remember in the Dirty Dozen, remember when what's his name started really picking on him? Lee Marvin started picking slapping him or something, and you like to kill, don't you? And he's like, no, and because he was just this mountain of a man, badass beast. And
True.
And you could see how he was just pushing his buttons, and just it was real tragic,
Yeah, I definitely see it. I see the resemblance there.
Yeah,
true story.
I love Clint.
True story. So my wife and I, I live in Connecticut, and we happened to run a couple errands. We were out and about. We're like, you know what, man, I'm dragging. It was the afternoon, maybe about a little after lunch. So we decided, hey, let's hit up the Starbucks. So we go and we pull in, and it's not a drive-through one. So we're like, crap, we got to go inside. It's like, screw it, we'll just go in. So we're going in and whatnot, and there's a couple behind us walking. And, I'm like, I was like, oh, wow, they have the same Acura as us. That's pretty cool. And then, like, they're walking this and that. All of a sudden, I look at Farrah, my wife. I'm like, is that John Krasinski? She's like, wait a minute. Yeah. And who's his wife? Elizabeth? Is it Elizabeth something or whatever, whoever his wife is? And it was them. So I opened up the door for him, like I would anyone that was walking behind us. I'd always do that courtesy,
Yes.
And all of a sudden I'm looking and he's just like, thank you. And I'm like, what the heck? And then like everyone in Starbucks is like, is that? And I'm just there like, yep, that is. I hold the door for him.
Yeah, he's a big dude, right?
He's the same height. He's just as tall as me. So he's got to be about 6'2". When I held the door for him and I hugged him and wouldn't let him go, our foreheads were right in line. Yeah,
that's awesome. How was the hug? How was that?
No, it was so funny though. They were just so like they didn't want to be recognized, so it's just like, hey, thank you, yep, and like hat down low. She was no makeup on, but you could clearly see it was her. They just went in to use the restroom and leave. What's that?
An actress?
Yeah,
she's a famous actress.
Oh my gosh, she's in Sicario.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Emily Blunt. Sorry.
Emily Blunt. Oh yeah, she's beautiful, Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
She's right here. That's my wife. Emily was very tall too.
Oh, was she really?
Yes. Emily Blunt.
Oh, look, it's
Oh my God, is this the first time Farrah has ever? This is the first time my wife has ever interacted.
Ever been on the?
Everyone flooded with friend requests.
That's awesome. Well, I am friends with your mother, Nile.
Oh yes.
And Debbie is as well. We are friends with Nile's mom and his wife.
Yes, and my little twins.
Yeah. Oh, Carter and Bennett,
attorneys at law. Look out, everyone. They're coming.
There you go. All right. So anyway, Farrah, I want you to know we have yet to meet in person, but both Graham and I are also, well, we're a little bit shorter than Nile. We're about 6. You're 6'1", right? I'm about 6 feet, right, Graham?
Six.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah,
that makes me 6'2".
Yeah. So we'd be peers with John Krasinski too.
There you go.
And we'd be like, "What's up, John Krasinski?"
He'd be like, "Hey, Billy, how are you?"
I'm doing all right, John Krasinski. Anyway, let's talk.
He's like, "I make movies. Screw you guys." What?
Let's talk Alien Alamo. All right. Yeah. So here's his dad. And I love that you put it in the Pacific, because all too often people ignore the Pacific theater. You know, the heroes are always coming back from, World War II, from Normandy, or from, fighting the Nazis and all. But the brutality of the Pacific theater really was far beyond that of the Western.
It was unmatched, because there was a underlying current of racism on both sides. And you were fighting a feudal society that had never been defeated before. And so the horrors that went on there were just unimaginable.
Right. Terrible. Okay, so here they are. So he's trying to reconnect with his son. You have the older gentleman. Is that grandpa? Is that a neighbor? Who is that? Give us our cast.
He's a fellow rancher.
Okay.
They're out in the boondocks. So the name of their ranch, the Houston's Ranch, and they are direct descendants of Sam Houston. The name of the ranch is the Alamo. Henceforth, the connection. They're in Texas, obviously, and the rancher is a neighbor of his. He does not get along with Travis. They don't see eye to eye. So there's this conflict between the two ranches, but of course they're going to have to come together for a common cause.
To kick some alien ass. That's why.
Kick some alien ass. Yeah.
So what are the aliens in this book?
Well, the aliens are here's the thing: when you write an alien story that has a kid in it, you cannot have if they were an intelligent alien, let's say aliens that flew spaceships. It would not behoove me to have a kid shooting and killing these intelligent people, even though they're aliens, so I had to go in the direction of animals or infestation type thing. So gotcha. I went with like these crab-like stink bug looking roaches, so to speak, sort of like so what happens is they're not flying spaceships, but the way they propagate and take over planets is these meteors land, and then they hit the atmosphere, and then their eggs hatch and they come out the way that a lot of insects do. So they're pretty much just a metaphor for an invasion. If we're going to extend out the allegory of the Japanese in World War II, or the Mexicans at the Alamo with Santa Anna, it's just that our heroes are overwhelmed, and they have to overcome overwhelming odds. So the aliens are sort of a backdrop to the relationship in the story, and what the characters have to do to overcome them. And I think that's where the interesting part comes.
Excellent. And he's using, like, the old Winchester 30-30, right? Is that what he's using?
Yeah, he has that, but he also has his M1 carbine.
Carbine. Okay.
Yeah, the Marines, a lot of the Marines use the M1 carbines in the Pacific, so he still has that. So he's going to put his 30-06 to good cause.
Well, wait a minute. Well, the carbine's not the 30-06. The carbine is the 30 caliber. The M1 Garand would be the 30-06.
I thought they shot the same.
No. The carbine's small. It shoots a very small pistol round. It's a 30 caliber round, but like the diameter is, but it's short. It's very underpowered. That's for blowing crabs away for sure. But it's 30 caliber. Just call it 30 caliber. Don't call it 30-06.
Okay, so it's the same as the 30-30.
No, it's not. It's
smaller.
Small. Yes, it's smaller. Yes.
Okay, but it's a semi-auto, so
It's absolutely. It's a semi-auto, and it's very light, and even little Timmy over there can use it to plink some of them old cyber crabs.
Okay. Oh, well, that's good to know. I thought that one was a 30-06 as well. I thought it was just a smaller. The wooden part was cut off, and
no. They did attempt to make a tanker version of it, which they've been able to do today. But there was a problem with the operating rod. Wouldn't work, and nobody cares about any of this but me. So let's move on to your story.
I will bow to your knowledge there, my friend. Thank you.
Well, thank you, brother. Thank you, and it was my pleasure. So thank you, Old Bean. JC Vaughn has added the link for everyone to see where they can check out Alien Alamo. And the Shnu was great. Was so great. I'm very Ham Nolan. What? I'm reading both of his things. I am very happy to support Alien Alamo, as was I. Proudly, I think I was backer 93 or something like that. As soon as I saw it, I jumped on it.
Slacker.
I know, sorry. But it was great. And I actually had a great call from a mutual friend of ours, Adam Post. I don't know if you spoke to Adam, but Adam was gushing over Alien Alamo, and you inspired him to, and partly with me, as well as I did a little to change his page layouts for his page layouts and storytelling for his Mermaids comic.
Oh, good.
Really? So he's going to revise it?
Yeah, he's totally revising the whole book. Sent me a sample page. It looks fantastic. But he was gushing over Graham and just how inspired he was by the Shnu, and he's using that almost as a template. Is your comment?
Oh, very cool.
For storytelling.
Yeah. I know he had mentioned to me that he really enjoyed the dynamics and the clarity of the storytelling.
Yep. So
that's the thing I always preach. I mean, the three tenets for me is clarity, dynamics, and immersion. If you do the first two, you can do the third, but if you don't, then you've got a mishmash of problems.
Absolutely. Here.
Yeah. No, and then it's cool too because I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing some of the names on your variant covers. I mean, Aaron Lopresti. I mean, this cover is awesome.
Yeah, Aaron colored that too.
He did the whole thing. Yeah. He usually, he does all that.
Yeah.
And then you got Butch Geisson.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are just awesome. Pencils. Those are just the pencils. Butch will eventually turn in the finished inks and we'll get it colored and I'll replace that image. But I mean, look at the pencils there, and look at the burning ranch in the background there.
Yeah,
is that not the image that John Ford shot from The Searchers when Ethan comes over the ridge and sees his brother's house burning? That's awesome.
Yeah.
And well, from the pencils, I like the way it ties in too, because it almost looks like part of. What is up here? Is this like a tree branching off with the crab?
No,
or is that like an explosion?
That's a skull. That's a like a cow skull.
Oh, okay. I see.
And these are the crab things like falling off of it like a tree. Falling towards these guys.
Yeah. Hey, Graham, what do you call your aliens? What are they called? Do they have a name?
Aliens.
Nice, because it's so hard to name aliens, isn't it?
Well, they don't talk, so they're not going to tell them what their names are. So, we're just going to call them aliens.
It's like eggs. It's like eggs landing on Earth in asteroid form, and then they just come and just take over.
Yeah. Now, is this a localized story? Is it pretty much in this area of Texas, or are they landing all over, Paris and?
No. It's very localized. It lands in this area of Texas, which is very sparsely populated. So you've got these two ranches. So that's what I like about this type of story is that it doesn't take place all over the world. It's very personal and unique, the battle that happens. And they're thrown into it because it just happens in their backyard. So these two factions, these two ranchers that don't get along, have to get along just for, the common decency of humanity, to survive. these like meat-eating creatures that are just, the first time they discover it is like half their cattle is gone. They discover bleached bones out in the fields, and they're, what the hell is this? As they start to hatch.
Yeah, that's cool. And
So-
this is your mini print is awesome.
Yeah.
The colors that Greg chose for that too. Just
I told Greg to look at Gerard's Blueberry.
okay.
Because I love his color palette. And, so he was excited to do that because he's a big fan of Gerard's stuff. So that's what he did, and he nailed it.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Vaughn says the way Graham's describing it, the stakes are both personal and huge at the same time.
JC's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's a personal battle, but if the battle is lost personally, then the battle expands. It's almost like The Thing, Whereas, if you've got this personal battle taking place at the North Pole with a group of people, but if they don't persevere, then the Thing is going to be able to expand and go out into populated areas, and then the creature will take over the world.
Right.
Hey, let's check out your campaign video.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, this is awesome. Nick Grosh did this.
Nick does an incredible job.
Wow.
Hey, how about that?
Incredible.
I told him, since I'm trying to tie this into, 50 sci-fi, my favorite movie is The Thing from Another World. And that opening in The Thing from Another World where the title burns through into, it's Winchester Pictures presents, and then it's all this happy music, and then it goes, that Dimitri Tiomkin music, and it burns through into The Thing. I wanted to have that. I told him, I want to do a burn through to my logo. And he nails that right there. It's so awesome. I get chills when I see that because I'm all geeked out over.
Incredible.
Dude.
This campaign looks awesome.
Man, with that.
I actually love the ending of it, as it's panning away from Earth and you just see more of the asteroids coming in. I think that's freaking wicked. That is awesome.
Yeah. He did a great job.
This is cool, man. This is cool. So now you've done, a cryptozoic creature with the Chino, and you now are dabbling in aliens. Any hint at what could be after Alien Alamo?
Ghosts.
Yes.
What?
Yes. The next book is called The Ghosts of Matacumba Key.
Ooh.
And it's going to have a character that appeared in the Chinook and a character that appears in Alien Alamo, because all of these books interconnect.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They're not sequels, and they're not like Chinook 2 or Alien Alamo 2 or anything like that. They're all standalone books, so you could read them and enjoy them for what they are. But if you read them all together, all the characters transpose over, and it's all one tapestry, and the story is all going to funnel into one big story at the end.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it's all going to be within the kind of horror, monster, sci-fi, supernatural worlds. That type of thing is what I'm trying to establish here. And
these
not
all could cross over
stuff.
eventually if you wanted to.
I'm sorry?
So you could actually, if you decide like maybe for your 5th campaign, you could technically now, because these all tie in, it's all like almost like they're part of the same universe in a way.
They are.
You could actually, tie in certain characters in future stories.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that they do tie in.
Yeah.
There's a character that shows up at the end of the Shinu who is the main protagonist in the Ghost of Metacumba Key. And each story is taking place in a different locale too. Shinu took place in Buffalo. This takes place in Texas, and the Ghost of Metacumba Key take place in the Florida Keys. So I'm moving things around, and yet it's really cool. There's going to be some really great reveals, and some interesting characters are going to show up. And each story kind of dovetails or opens up the door to the next one. So
That's awesome,
so after the Ghost of Metacumba Key, the next one is more like a supernatural private eye type thing called Misty and Meathead. So yeah, so I've got an idea of where I'm going.
Yeah,
with my publishing line down the road.
Very cool. Now, so Alien Alamo is your first crowdfunding campaign for 2021. What is the goal for Graham Nolan Compass Comics? How many campaigns are you going to try to get out this year?
Probably just the one.
Okay.
The projected delivery date for this is December, but I'm hedging that a little bit because I'm hoping to get it out earlier.
Okay.
I'd like to get it out earlier, but I'm putting it at December because last time I did that, I ran a couple months late, and like I said, I'm a deadline guy. I like to meet the deadlines or beat them. So this way, I think I've got myself covered. God willing, locusts don't start coming in. I mean, that's next, right?
Yeah, right. What's the worst that could happen? Well, we're nowhere near that yet, are we?
Right.
And for the viewers out there that are watching live on Facebook and that are going to be watching this on YouTube, check out Alien Alamo. This looks amazing. The story seems to be amazing as well. This whole universe that Graham is developing. Check it out. Back the campaign if you love it, like we do. If it's something you can't back right now, then the best thing you can do is share it. Always share these campaigns if you can. Help support indie creators. But this is freaking awesome, Graham. And do you have anything else going on outside of crowdfunding?
Yeah, I have a series coming out with Aftershock in April called The Girls of Dimension 13 that I've written. I created it and wrote it, and Brett Blevins is illustrating it. This one's I've been working on this for about 3 years now, and there's been a lot of issues that have kept it from getting out. But finally, we got everything in place now, and it's ready to launch in April. So that one is the way to describe that is Dr. Strange meets the girls of Apartment 3G.
I have to ask, Graham, April 13th, we can go live again. Can we have the privilege of having our first live show be you and your creative team?
Well, I'll talk to the gang and see if Brett wants to do it, and Greg Wright, who did my mini poster here and many things for me, is the colorist on the girls. So yeah, I could talk to them and see if they'd be willing to come on. That would be cool. That
would be awesome. You can kick us off back into the streaming world.
Yeah, you criminals.
I know. Well, it is what it is, right?
It
is what it is. You go with the man, but then again, I like being an outlaw, to be honest with you.
Do you?
Oh yeah, and and I love that. Graham, like you asked, what's going on with you outside of his own self publishing, and he's working, with Aftershock, great independent publisher. They put out fantastic stuff, great people over there. And it just kind of seems that this is the way to go now, because I don't know if there is a future for people like us or pros, established pros, to work for Marvel and DC, unless you're one of their top guys that been doing it forever or whatever, because I think they're in deep. I think they're dead. I think they're in big trouble.
I think that the best advice I can give anybody in this business, and that includes, longtime veterans, is start to position yourself away from Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
Eventually, they're going to cut you loose. They're going to cut that umbilical cord, and you're not going to know when it happens. And then you're going to be struggling to build an audience for yourself. You need to do that now, because when you let go, the tap stops. You've been working for a page rate. If you're lucky and you're a top tier guy, maybe you had royalties coming in. But when you look at the sales of most of these books, they're probably not even meeting royalty thresholds.
Yeah.
So you probably don't have a monthly income coming in. So when that tap gets stopped, you're screwed. So you better start reading the room and positioning yourself for success outside of this, because the end is coming for those companies and them being the go-to place for professional artists. You got to start thinking of your future and start building your audience, and that takes time. It's hard work and it takes time, but the payoff is amazing. Julie and I were talking at dinner today. I'm the happiest I've been in the 37 years in my business, outside of maybe in the beginning when I was working on Detective with Chuck, and we had huge royalties coming in and stuff like that. Still, I was under editorial dictates and stuff like that. But the people that were making them were good people who knew what the hell they're doing, guys like Denny O'Neil, and I was younger, and wanting to do that kind of stuff. But now at my age now, I want to do the kind of stories I want to see, because nobody's producing them for me. Everything is the same old crap. And if they're not shoving a polemic down your throat or some type of social justice thing in your face, and they're doing it at the expense of the entertainment, and that's your one job as a publisher, is sell you have two jobs: sell comics and entertain your readers. That's it. That's all you got to do. If you do that, you have a loyal fan base.
Yeah. What I think what I think went wrong with them, if I may, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No,
there is no accountability there, because they're both, strictly speaking of Marvel and DC, they're publicly traded companies. So they're almost like a giant bureaucracy. And now heads did start to roll at DC with editors getting fired and all, but there's no accountability. That the buck does not stop anywhere. And they're not paying anyone's salaries, because the shareholders are, and the shareholders are not aware of what's going on, which comics are coming out. The shareholders are interested in the Marvel movies, the DC movies, the television series, things like that. And then they wonder, like, wait a minute, what's up with this stock, or what's up with this division of it? What is this crap that they're putting? The whole snowflake.
It's almost like let's just use the comics as just, all right, they're going to develop the characters, we'll take that, and then we'll hand it over to the screenwriters at that point. Let's see what takes in comics. Let's look at how characters look and develop in the universe. If it's something good, all right, Disney Plus, let's make it let's make it an exclusive into this and that. I mean, because the comics don't make the money. It's the feature films that do, and the toys and everything else that goes along with it, that makes billions of dollars for these corporations. So the comics are going the way, and it's progression of the times. And my inside people at Disney, not Disney, DC, told me what was going on there. And I mean, how many people were let go is incredible, and the talent that was let go, that's been there for so long, is now gone, and what was brought in is just it makes no sense. It makes absolutely, you can't even talk about it. Like, it's just so screwed up, absolutely screwed up. And it's bringing nothing new to the industry. It's just going to be stuff that no one gets, unfortunately.
Yeah, and
think about it, guys. Think about it. Over the last 30 years, Marvel and DC have produced nothing new. You know, it's another it's really another team up, another crossover, another big event, or another Batman book, or another whatever is hot book, X-Men book, or whatever. But there's no incentive for creators to go to Marvel and DC with their ideas, because they'll own it. They'll take it, they'll own it, and then they'll shit can you when they're done with you. And then they still own your creation.
And they still own your creation and have other people work on it.
Yeah. And even with a equity agreement like DC does. I don't know. I don't think Marvel does this, but DC had started back when the company was well run by Paul Levitz and Jeanette Kahn and Dick Giordano, and they cared about the freelance community. They had an equity agreement with people for things that they created. Now that pool is a very small pool of equity that you own in that character. So like Chuck and I own a piece of Bane, but we don't really own Bane. It just means that they have to pay us that percentage for any time they use Bane for anything. And if you do the back math on it, you know, it's like these guys make billions on these characters, and we get, you know, car fare, you know, cab fare.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I'm not denying, you know, sometimes it can be quite good, you know, but it's not as good as owning your own stuff. So the point is that, you know, take the risk now, because those guys are going by the way of the dinosaur. They're eventually going to be shut down. Disney, AT&T don't care about publishing. In their eyes, publishing is a losing venture. The only reason they bought these companies for the IP that they can strip mine. And that's what they're doing. They're going to take the IP and they're going to strip mine it and use it for these other things that they find or they think will be profitable for them. But they really don't care about doing new stories. They have 80 years of stories to mine from.
Yeah.
You know? So and that's what they're going to do. They're going to pull all these old stories and rework them in a modern way with a screenwriter. And that's going to be that. And so if you're still, set in store by the fact that, Marvel and DC are the two big guys, you better start rethinking that paradigm and start getting yourself positioned to succeed without them.
Right.
Which is what guys like Billy and I and you, Nile, and Ethan and the list goes on and on, Fraga and Tiber, and we're at the forefront of this right now, and we're getting set, and and we're happy as hell, because we have no gatekeepers, and we're producing the stuff we want to do that the fans want to get, the kind of comics they want to receive, and buy and support, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. The thing is, I think you're gonna start to get a lot of professionals that are working now, and they've been calling me. I talked to Jimmy. They've been calling Jimmy. Ethan's had conversations with them. I'm sure Brian has, of established pros asking, "How did you do this?" And you tell them how hard it is, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like, yeah, well, if it was easy, everyone would do it. What I think now, and I don't want to give away things, but I think you're going to start seeing them more out there, because you're going to have these companies pop up that will do sort of like what the partners did with Tony Daniel and Scott Snyder's book.
Oh yeah,
we'll package it, we'll put it all together for you, and you just write it and draw it just like you work with a Marvel and DC.
Yep.
So I think the crowdfunding pool is going to get a lot smaller sooner than later. But that said, I think we've got incredible following that we owe so much to the fans themselves. And I personally, I think there's enough for everyone. I do. It's just going to be very interesting. And I think it's going to get, and I'm a capitalist, so I love good competition. I always have, but I think it's going to get a lot more competitive in the next few years.
Oh, I agree.
You're right.
I agree. I think you've seen some big names really test the water and have great success. I mean, Todd McFarlane didn't need to put Spawn on Kickstarter. He didn't need to do it. and he broke like crowdfunding records with it.
Yeah, he's not stupid.
He's not stupid. He knows what he's doing. I mean, even Scott Snyder and them, they're starting to make their presence because look, more than likely, and there's a chance, who knows, but when that contract's up, will Scott Snyder still be there?
Well, look, Bendis just lost.
Bendis just got canned.
Yeah. He got canned. Yep, they got rid of him. I heard he was making $1,000 a page.
Yeah, I heard that too.
For a script.
Where's the justification? I mean, oh my God. Hey, yeah, good for God bless him. Good for him.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, I don't look down on anybody for making big money. If you can cut that deal, more power to you.
Absolutely.
You know, the problem with that is that when they get guys that are paying those deals, what DC will do is, or Marvel, they'll cut the rates of other people.
Right.
So, you know, the rates are going down because these superstars' rates are so high.
Yeah. And you know, the thing too is that you were saying about how these companies, the numbers aren't there, and the big companies don't really care about the numbers. You look back even in the 90s when you're dealing with Warner Brothers, Time Warner money, or whoever owns Time Warner. You know, these multi-billion-dollar publicly traded corporations. A comic book selling 1 million copies won't even matter to them. They won't even notice it. So if we were doing numbers like that Marvel was doing in 92, 91, 93, you know what I mean? I still don't think it would matter much to how huge the corporations that own them now have become.
Well, that and the geography's changed. It's not about it's not about paper anymore. It's about the screen.
Yeah.
It's about the screen. So it's like, you know, and honestly, you're going to get a bigger fan base because people are more apt to go in and watch something than they are to read it.
Yeah.
And they brought in such a massive audience with the television and the movies that they didn't even take advantage of the comics. And that's where like the MCU really screwed up. You know, you had, you know, Iron Man movies doing so great, but then when you went to the comic shop, Iron Man was, you know, a woman of color or something. Like it didn't just tie in. And there's nothing wrong with that. But
she's a little kid.
She was a little kid, yeah. But that's the thing. It's like, and there's nothing wrong with having that storyline. But when you have this massive movie doing so well and people are hungry for more Iron Man, then you need to give them Tony Stark in the comic and take advantage of that and get that running. And if you want to keep having a little girl Iron Man doing her thing, that's fine. But they did nothing for the comics.
Right.
They just focused on the movies being like the comics we loved, right? And then making the comics something that was just weird and wrong. Like, not, I shouldn't say wrong, but just in a direction that the movies weren't even going.
It was
in.
Alien.
Well, I think you could say wrong because the sales didn't bear it out. You know, it was an experiment that failed because they were trying to force a cultural thing into the stories that the readers didn't want to see. There's a reason why the Iron Man movie was almost dead on Tales of Suspense 39. Because it's a damn good story, and all the successful first phase 1 Marvel movies were dead to rights to the source material. And but the comics, as you had mentioned, Nile, at the time those movies came out, had nothing to do with that source material. So the comics were tanking.
Yeah, so, the comics were tanking because all those main characters were actually now they transfer. All of them were now female, so they didn't. So they couldn't even continue.
Asian Hulk, you know, Soy Boy Hulk, Puerto Rican Spider-Man. You know, all this stuff that wasn't happening on the screen that was becoming very, very successful. And you know what? If you want, and here's the big beef I have with these guys and the laziness of their social justice projections, is that if you really think that there should be a young girl of color as an Iron Man or as a character, and that there's a market that needs to be tapped, then go for it and own it. Create something new. Make it live and do the heavy lifting. But just to take to gender swap or race swap a character and call it Hulk or Spider-Man or Thor, whatever it is is lazy. And it's disingenuous to the creators that created it in the first place, you know, and you're just piggybacking on the popularity of that franchise. You're not doing the heavy lifting that indie creators have to do. Is you have to start from scratch and create something that people will enjoy and get attached to, and that's where the work comes in. And they're unwilling to do that. And yet they'll get up and they'll say, you're a racist or you're a bad person because you don't buy our stuff.
Right.
Well, we don't want that stuff. I want Hulk. I want to see Rage Hulk. I want to see Bruce Banner's Hulk because that's what was established. If you want to do a character that's similar or something and they happen to be black or female or Asian or whatever, great. I got no problem with that. When Stan and Jack needed a black character, they created one from whole cloth called the Black Panther. And he was well-formed, and he was great, and he became a wonderful character. Yeah. They didn't take an existing character and swap him out for something. They did the heavy lifting, and that's what these guys are unwilling to do.
Hear, hear. Hear, hear.
Who's up?
Yes, huzzah!
And back Alien Alamo!
Yeah!
Back Alien Alamo!
That's right. Because I did the heavy lifting, folks. I created these characters from whole cloth. So that you will love them.
Yeah. And then when you're done with backing Alien Alamo, there's still just under 3 days left on Shihikyo Kickstarter exclusive.
Oh yes, thank you, Nile, for that. Oh, listen, we're approaching our little campaign that could, our little 555 triple nickel. Boom. Or is that
triple nickel?
565.
555.
555 triple nickel. Now you know what the 555
was? 50 hours. Did you see that?
50 hours left. The 555
remaining.
555th Parachute Infantry Regiment was a segregated airborne infantry regiment made up solely of African American soldiers, paratroopers.
Oh.
Yep, and they eventually became smoke jumpers, and they ended up saving like the Northwest from this great fire.
Fires,
incredible heroes that they were, and so this is great. We got 50 hours left to our little Kickstarter campaign that could. Thank you, Nile Scala, for that. And we end at 1 a.m. on Saturday morning, so we're going live Friday night, right, Scala?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have a little party, Graham. I don't know if you're doing anything, if you want to pop on with us for a half hour or 20 minutes or so and have a drink or something. And
I'll see if I can pop in. I'm going to be on another show on Friday. So,
look at you.
I'm whoring. I'm pimping.
Whose show are you going on Friday?
Oh my goodness. Let's see.
You gotta get the little black book out.
Pitch your wares.
Come on, buddy. Open up my calendar here. I'm going on Mandy's summer show.
Oh, nice. She's the best.
Yeah.
We love our Mandy. And Nile and I are going to crash Mandy Summers' show too in support of you, and she doesn't know it yet.
Nice. Well, she knows it now.
Now she does. She's great. She is so generous with her time. And you're going to Mandy's show before. What time are you going on with her?
8:00.
Oh, so now maybe we'll be in the let's be in the chat, Nile.
Yes.
We'll chat it up for sure.
Oh, please.
In support of Alien Alamo.
Yes. Support of Alien Alamo.
Remember, boys. Remember the Alamo.
Yes.
Heck yeah, man. Keep your 3636, baby. Have you ever been to the Alamo?
I have not. I've never been to San Antonio.
It is some kind of place. When you go down San Antonio way, and that's made that sound. That's pretty good, right? And you go to the Alamo. We went inside the Alamo, and some kid was wearing a ball cap like this. And there was some guy in front of me, some older guy, maybe like 70 years old. And you just hear him. The kid walks in, and he's got his ball cap on. And the man's walking in behind. He goes, "Take that hat off, son." And the kid ignores him, right? And right in the church, he goes, "Take that hat off." And that echoed in the church. And the kid's like, that was great. I'm like, Texas.
People forget it's a church. It's a mission.
Yeah, it's a real church. Yeah.
Yeah. And now, have you been to Brackettsville?
No. What is that?
That's where the other Alamo is.
I've not been to
the other Alamo.
Yeah, the one that Shane built.
Is that where the film set is?
Oh.
Yeah, it's in
Brackettsville.
Yeah.
And where does the Alien Alamo take place?
In Texas.
Well, Hill Country is very beautiful, and West Texas, Lubbock, West Texas.
It's West Texas because it's Hill Country for sure. Yeah. But I don't want to name a town because then somebody from that town is going to say, the landscape doesn't look like that here.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I remember the Searchers took place in Texas, and yet there they were in Monument Valley. So, what are you going to do?
That's true, buddy. That is true. That is true.
All right. Well, Graham, thanks so much for coming on the show. Good luck with Alien Alamo. We'll keep pushing it through our channels. And
I appreciate it, boys.
As we said, everyone, check it out. It's an awesome book. Graham is just a top-notch creator. You can never go wrong with his products. And that's why we personally keep backing him. So back Alien Alamo and share it on all your social media, your Twitter, your Instagram, your Facebook, whatever you can do to spread the word. And I think this is going to be a huge, huge successful campaign for you.
Thank you, brother. I hope so.
6 figures.
I'm working hard. I'm working it hard.
All the way. You're definitely going to break 6 figures. And that's just beginning, because then when your Ghost comic comes, oh, my God.
I'm hoping each one builds upon the next, And
then you'll get the Graham Nolan horror anthology.
That's right.
And you'll be able to get all of these books in one collection.
Did you say
maybe an omnibus, the Nolanverse omnibus?
Ooh, Nolanverse.
Ooh, I love that. Compass Comics in there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Compass Comics is putting you in the right direction towards good comics there, Billy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You've got a great fan base, and you can see how they've responded to you. And again, you've made in your first hours what you did more than you did in weeks, 2 weeks or more. Of the Chenoo, which was a fantastic project on its own. We've had similar things, and I want to thank everyone out there because right now our totals of, I guess, our first 2 months, we are now where we were, I think, at 9 months with Return of the Warrior. So I want to thank everyone out there too for supporting us, and Deborah, thanks you, and also everyone for thanking the Watch the Pop for supporting the Pop XP here.
Yes. All right, everyone. So if you've enjoyed what you saw tonight, please make sure to click that subscribe button and smash that bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And there you have it, everyone. The great Graham Nolan has joined us tonight, and we will have him back on again. Mr. Tucci.
Good to see you, Mr. Nolan. Great to see you.
Good to see you, Mr. Scala and Mr. Tucci.
Proud of you, son. Kicking ass, brother. You're doing great.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Anytime, pal.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night, so long, gang.
Bye. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Pop XP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the Pop XP and over on Instagram at the Pop XP. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you soon.